Hello everybody, I'm Danrvdtree2000, also known as Danrvdtree2000 on Xbox Live. Well, this is my very first, I'm gonna say episode, I don't care, of my podcast, 2 P's in a podcast. And here's my very special guest, Mr. Jacob Gaywood. How's life treating you, Mr. Gaywood? How's it going?
Same day, different shit.
Same old shit, different day.
I got the phrase wrong.
But hey ho, we will continue. So, as you guys know, I did a shout out video on my wrestling game, WWE 2K20 for Jacob, and he's the champ! And the champ is here, and today we're going to talk about just general life. And we're going to go and talk about, the first thing we're going to talk about is our friends that we've met along the way. As me and you, we're friends from work. And can you tell us all about your friendship with what was your first friend that you ever met?
First friend that I ever met was a young man called Charlie Wisdom. He was a very strange boy, to be honest. He moved to Spain a few years after having met him, and we tried to stay in contact, but unfortunately we didn't stay in contact. But I did hear a few years ago that he was now a professional scuba diver. For whatever it means, I don't know, but good on him. Good on him.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can dive right into my friendship after that conversation. And one of my first friends I ever met was at school, and his name was Henry. Henry Smith. He pretty much we like to call him over here, a traveller, and he had his own his mum and dad owned a fairground business, and it's because of him that's the reason why I'm a huge Halo fan, because I went to his trailer at one point and he showed me Halo, and quite frankly I was like, this is amazing. I love this new Xbox One. You remember the Xbox, I should say. You remember the old Xbox, Jacobs, that were the size of a brick, maybe 2 bricks?
I can't say I really do. I do remember playing on a very old Xbox, but I think it might have been Xbox 360 at that point. I've always been a PlayStation person.
Oh, mate. Let me know in the comments section below. Was you a PlayStation or an Xbox person? Please. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe as well. And stay tuned for the next episode where we'll talk more about video games or maybe other things in general. But yeah, we used to play a lot of different video games over at his place. I would, sit there, have dinner, and, have a good old microwave pizza, whatever it was he would give me on that day. But it was after that my mum bought me an Xbox original, and we got Halo 2 with it, and I just, from on out, I've lost contact with him now, because we kind of...
Yeah, life happens. People go separate paths.
Yeah, I mean, we had this little argument about something which I don't really want to get into it and whatever. But yeah, speaking of school, going off of the fact that I met him at school, what was school like for you growing up at school for you, Jacob?
School was, I don't really remember much of younger years at school. I was more of a class clown, but not in an oppressive way. It was just that I was the weirdo in the classroom for quite some time, because I didn't really listen to what the teachers were trying to teach me. I didn't want to pay attention. I'd rather just sit there and make my friends laugh. But later on, I can't really say that I had a lot of friends in secondary school, because I was a bit more of a social recluse. I kept myself to myself. I did have a girlfriend in secondary school, but it didn't work out for the best. But that was 10, 12 years ago nearly.
Yeah, and girls can be quite something. They can be quite troublesome, quite in some respects. But where would we be without a woman by our side? And I could tell you a fun story about a girl that was back at my school. It was probably my last year of school when I went to a special needs school called Treetop School. Shout out to them, and my headmaster, Mr. Paul Smith. he was a great guy, and still is. But going back to the story, I'd like to say that, the last year, whoever was in that last years, always put on a leaving do assembly, and it's like a play or something, whatever it was, like a little show at the end of each year. And it was our turn, because it was my turn. We were growing up. I was about to leave school, and I did something with. I brought in my puppets, because I really loved puppets back in those days. My ones with the strings, marionettes.
Ah, the marionette puppets, yeah.
Yeah, but they were like very little dinosaur monster things. But we did a little something with one of the other kids. We did like It's a Small World with that, and then going on. It's a Small World, which is related to Disney. I'm a huge, big Disney nerd. I'm a big Disney fan. I don't know about yourself, but one of my favourite films in the Disney universe is Aladdin, and of course, I thought a good idea was to just suggest to this girl that I liked, and I was like, why don't you do It's a Small World? It's a small. Do a whole new world. I beg your pardon. And with your boyfriend. And she said, "Oh no, man, my boyfriend is not into that type of thing." And so I need to find someone else. The teacher said it was a good idea.
And you suggested yourself.
I would say I suggested myself, but have you ever seen High School Musical?
Vaguely.
Right. Do you know that moment where Troy, he goes, "Oh, I'll do it. I'll do this thing with you, Gabriella." I don't know how I can know all these references, but that time I don't know that I am. But anyway, I was about to go, "Yeah, I'll do it," and suddenly the person next to me was like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Beat you to the punch.
He did, and here's the thing: the bad thing is, dude was absolutely dreadful. I was peeking through the curtain, and he was absolutely terrible. She was perfect. She was on cue, and I was thinking, there's got to be an alternate universe going on to this the fact that Disney owns Marvel, and we're doing this whole multi-universe things. What is your opinion, Jacob, of the multiverse theory?
Multiverse theory. What you mean, just about Marvel, or in
general,
in real life?
In real life,
I think it's entirely plausible. I don't know. What do you want me to think about it? What would you like to hear of my thoughts of it?
Well,
you'll have to give me a bit more to go on.
For example, there could be a multiverse where that you and me never met.
Well, that would be a sad place.
Yes, but indeed. But there could also be a multiverse where me and that girl did that whole new world thing, and everything from then on out went on to be perfect.
That would cause me to question why you don't think the current universe we're in is perfect.
That is a very good point. Although we have had a very perfect universe, or when it comes to Earth at least, or the life that we're living in right now, we used to have all the good things that we used to be able to do. I mean, you love to sing, and you love to go out to concerts, and I know you know that. But then 2020 came along.
Yes, 2020 was a big hindrance on a lot of people's lives. But it was that, or we all keep doing what we wanted to do, and we spread this disease, and we potentially all die.
Yes, indeed.
I say potentially.
Potentially.
I'm not saying we would have all died.
No.
I'm not saying we definitely wouldn't have. I'm saying potentially.
And for those that are watching, I'd just like to say, this is your shot. Do it now. Get vaccinated.
Get vaccinated. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's entirely plausible that there is a multiverse, but until there is proof, which I don't know how they would be able to source proof, there is no way of proving it.
And
without proof, there is no proof.
Indeed, and going off of proof or something, and I love a good conspiracy theory, one of the going off of multiverses and stuff, time travel, my friend. What is your thoughts on time travel?
I believe time travel will never exist, because if it did, we would know about it already. People would have come back in time. If it was made in the future, people would have come back in time.
Have you seen those videos where people claim that they were on like the mobile phones back in, and especially I think it was like one with the old lady that had this brick of a mobile phone with her at one point?
I don't believe any of that is real. I think it's either edited or it's a bad shot and they're just holding something and people have just taken it out of proportion.
And even if we was to use time travel, from a video that I recently watched on Achievement Hunter, shout out to them because quite frankly one of my favourite YouTubers, but I'll get back to YouTube in a second, in which this is going out to. I know for a fact that if we was to actually design a time machine, you would have to design it so it can land in a specific, not just point in time, but you would have to arrange it to do a space as well, because
yes.
the planet
Earth is in constant movement.
Is in constant movement.
Our solar system is in constant movement, and our galaxy is in constant movement. Throughout the huge universe that we are in, it's moving constantly. We don't notice it because we are on a planet. There is a gravitational force that keeps us affixed to the planet, so we don't notice it. But this planet is moving at stupidly fast speeds.
Indeed. And this planet is filled with wonderful life as we know it, like ourselves, humans. Quite frankly, let's face it, Jacob, as humans, no offense, are the stupidest of all the species. We have invented so much stuff that has pretty much damaged the Earth, and so much things that could possibly damage us, harm us, even kill us in so many different ways. When you look at some of the other animals on the planet that are much 10 times smarter than us, e.g. dolphins and apes.
This is a case of people not taking a step back to look at a bigger picture. This is about, for example, the creation of atomic weapons, warheads, things like that. This was a human dispute. Yes, war is a terrible thing. There were atrocities being committed, and it was a race to create this horrific weapon before the other force could. But there was no stop to think what effect is this going to have on the planet? What effect is this going to have on future generations, on other forms of life on this planet, wildlife?
Yes.
It's a lack of open-mindedness.
Indeed, 100% need to be very open-minded as an open-minded person. I personally, I'm a not so serious person. I don't really take much notice when it comes to the main media of things, e.g. the news or anything like that, or politics, which is banned off of my podcast, by the way. So
this is a zero politics area. It will not be tolerated.
Yes.
Anyone found in the comments talking about politics will be blocked.
Yes. And I'm talking about you.
Unless lots of people do it, in which case the comments will be unavailable.
Unavailable. But
you've been warned.
Yeah, you've been warned by the Jacob Gaywood, who will physically come to your house and
through the screen.
Through the screen.
Come through the screen.
Right now. But
that would be an interesting ability.
It would be. But speaking of abilities, everyone loves this good conversation, Jacob. If you could have any superhero ability, or maybe even 3, 5, or your top 5 abilities to have in real life, whether it be effective or not, what would they be?
I have actually considered this quite a lot. When I was younger, I wanted super strength.
Yeah.
Purely because I felt like I wanted to be strong when I grew up. Nowadays it's not that so much. It would be probably instantaneous teleportation. And there is an argument that says teleportation you'd need to take into account travelling the world, like we spoke about earlier with time travel. the planet's in constant movement. This is why I said instantaneous teleportation. In that instant, nothing is moving. Time is stopped. It's instantaneous. Either that, or
The ability to turn invisible?
not really. I think that's massively overrated.
Oh yeah. Or the same with X-ray vision, or maybe the power the telekinesis or whatever it is.
Telekinesis would be very interesting, but then you'd want to be able to turn it off, because if you start to hear what everyone thinks and you don't want to hear it.
Oh yes, especially if I'm reading your mind, Jacob. God blimey, God knows what's going on in that mind.
You may be disturbed.
100%. 100%. I'd be like, oh my God, good Lord.
I have that thought sometimes.
I hear voices in my head telling me not to kill people. I don't listen to them.
Because I want to kill.
Okay. Let's not go too far. No, that's not going to make it. But in all seriousness, I would say Super Flight is a very good one, and possibly Super Speed. I mean, you've seen the movies. You know how the Flash and Silver Surfer work. It just be everyone else would be. I don't know if that would happen in real life. Everything else would be slowed down. But is that how it would work in real life?
The way I watched some of the Flash series that come out a little while ago, and the way it was explained in that the way that particular thing was explained was quite interesting, because it's not all the time. It's a thing that he can turn on and off, which I think is probably for the best, because if your whole life everything else around you was very, very slow, like it is for Quicksilver in X-Men, you would hate your life. Oh my goodness, you would hate everything.
Definitely, I feel like I would agree with you there. But number one is when it comes to superheroes, and is probably the ability. I've joked around at work with people about this, but imagine if there was 10 of me.
What, like the ability to duplicate yourself, or they are already there?
The ability to clone myself, my friend. I could just imagine, I need to have a specific, a certain difference, a specific difference, just to tell the difference. And if anything, I would choose, I would do the Homer Simpson way, no belly button.
That's interesting. My question to you before you said that was going to be, what happens to a clone when it dies? Does it remain there like a normal human body, or does it disappear in some way?
Well, I would use it in a way where, for example, if I'm at work and I'm by myself and it's a busy ass day, I would clone myself 4 times, and if one of them was to trip or fall into a knife or whatever, then that one would just like Venom snap out of nowhere.
Okay.
So it would just like evaporate, and then I could just make another clone to replace it.
My following question would be, if you didn't have a way of differentiating yourself between you and the clones, would it not be a horrible experience to constantly wonder whether you were a clone or not?
Yes, I always do that. I ramble on about nothing. But anyway, my point is, I would make them shorter.
You would make them shorter. I have another question about this topic before we move on.
Go ahead.
Would the clones know that they were clones, or would they think that they were you?
Well, I would also make sure that they have a tattoo on them that says clone and then whatever number it is. So, for example, I clone myself, it would be individually. It'd be like, okay, and then the clone number 1 is there.
But when you create them, they don't know they're a clone until you say they're a clone.
Yes.
But, so this is a scenario. You go into this situation, you create a clone. Both of these people think the other person is a clone that they've just created. You and this clone. They both think they're you, but created the other one as a clone.
Yeah, I think that would drive them mad.
You'd have to have someone there as witness to say, no, this is the real Daniel. You're a clone. I'm sorry, mate. You're a clone.
Yes.
But that's the real Daniel right
I
there.
will clone myself in front of you.
As long as you're not naked, it's fine.
That's another image that I think they want to get out of their heads.
That's a topic for another day.
Yeah. But let's go back. Okay, so let's go from superheroes and everything, and as I was saying, with height and stuff, and women. And let's go talk about that. From that subject, what do you want to when it comes to relationships? First of all, how many have you had? And second of all, what do you want in a woman?
So relationships is a broad term. Relationship is a word used when you interact with another human being. Do you mean a romantic relationship?
Yes, I do.
I have only ever been in one romantic relationship in my life, which is the one I spoke about earlier in secondary school. We were together for about 2.5 years. It was a pretty good relationship. We just grew different. Well, we grew apart, shall I say?
Yeah.
So we ended up splitting off. We still talk to each other. We're still friends.
I mean, I have only had, technically speaking, one, as we like to call it, but we can't really say it these days, girlfriend.
Say that.
I mean, politically correct,
That's politically correct. You're alright.
Okay, let's continue. But I had one where it was my 18th birthday, and we kissed, and the next day, for you younger guys, you probably won't remember this, but Jacob will MSN Messenger. Oh, that was the good old days. She messaged me on that saying, "Oh, yeah, it was a mistake." Eek.
Ouch.
But oh well, life happens.
To say it on MSN Messenger as well. That's harsh.
But hey, life is life, and if I was to go out on the market again, within reason, within a certain age limit, obviously, I would look for someone that has the same things in common. That is, and personality over looks. I mean, yeah, if they manage to have big bazongas and a nice backside at the same time, having the same personality, and of course having the same things in common, then that's the perfect, perfect match. But I'm not after a perfect match. I'm after personality and common interests. I don't judge anyone I don't judge a book by its cover. I am straightforward as can be.
That's fair. I've got to agree with you. Personality comes before looks. It comes to the point where if I don't click with someone's personality, that I find them unattractive physically. I don't know if everyone does that. It's just something in my head. But yes, definitely someone who has a common agenda with their own personality that aligns with my own. It's definitely a good match.
Definitely. I mean, I know you told me recently that you were going out with someone, but
This wasn't a serious thing. No.
Yeah, but it could have worked out.
Maybe.
Who knows?
In an alternate universe.
In an alternate universe, exactly. And let's see. We got, what was it? 25. We're in 25 minutes here. I'll go for another 5 minutes, and we can wrap things up. But we've known each other in work, and we've talked about school. We've talked about a bit about work, and let's talk about the future, Jacob.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, I know with relationships, I'd like to see myself settled down with perhaps a wife, or maybe not, depending on how things go. Maybe just have a girlfriend. I mean, people like to flirt with me, and I like to flirt back because that's my flirtish personality. The old dad jokes and the dirty-minded stuff. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Enough said.
And
but you'd like to see yourself settled down?
Yeah, settled down. Whoever comes my way, literally and physically.
My goodness. We may have to bleep that.
Yeah.
What about other than relationship? How about career?
Career-wise, I don't really see myself being a kitchen porter forever. I did say I wanted to be a chef, but I'm seeing you a lot behind there, stressing out, doing this and that. I know I'm a very good cook at home, but it would be nice was to maybe open something like a personal business, a family business maybe like a bed and breakfast or something where I can do the cooking and the washing up or whatever, and do something that would be, I mean, yeah, traveling out to go to America one more last time. Who wants to come with me? Go ahead, come with me. Friends only though, for whoever's watching this, friends only. You gotta be within a certain distance. No good being out in America and you just watch my channel for fun. You have to be, if you want to come with me to America, that would be great.
You gotta be a local.
Basically, a local. But in all seriousness, to go to places that I've been before one more time, to see myself, but the business idea is the main one. Like, to have my own, like, not necessarily a restaurant, but maybe like a bed and breakfast or something.
Bed and breakfast? What, like a hotel?
Like a hotel, but don't hold as like functions and stuff like what we do.
A bit like an inn, like a smaller version.
Yeah, like an inn, like the one that Jesus was in.
No, he didn't get into an inn.
Oh no, he didn't.
Because there was no room at the inn.
No, there wasn't.
Whether or not Jesus existed is questionable.
Very questionable.
We don't condone.
No.
We don't condone. I think that's the wrong word. We don't align ourselves with any particular faith.
No. This is all in good fun, and don't get too, you're blaspheming this, blaspheming that. No, this is all in good fun. Don't get your panties in a bunch or whatever. This is all just a joke. And that is the problem with today's society. It's jokes, my friend, can be said, and we're like, no. But anyway, so let's go to your seeing yourself in the future, my friend.
I also would like to be with someone in the future. I don't hold out for it. It would be nice, but if it doesn't happen, I'm not too fussed. I enjoy my life. Career-wise, I would like to progress in the kitchen in the short-term future. Definitely at our current workplace, I would like to see myself progress a bit more. In the distant future, I would maybe like to work on a cruise. It would be definitely a change of place, a change of place and pace.
Any particular cruise, or would you want us to work with Disney, with the House of Mouse?
Disney, I have read into with their cruises. It comes with a lot of perks. However, I imagine you will be expected to bend over backwards for patrons or customers, purely for the fact that that's what Disney is about. It's about ultimate service. So the people that are serving will be expected to do absolutely whatever the customer asks for, within reason, of course.
Within reason.
There's no sneaking off the customers' bedrooms at night upon request.
Yes.
Or even without request. That would be even worse.
Yes, it would be very, very, very bad. But I would like that. I mean, I could just see myself going on a cruise one day. I know that my mum really bangs on about going on one, and a Disney cruise especially. But I could just see myself going on to just a cruise, whether it be not a Disney one or not, just and you're serving on for breakfast or whatever it is. I'm like, I know that guy.
That's if you can see into the kitchen. Now, you probably would be able to. Disney's very encompassing like that. Where they would, I don't know, maybe give you an opportunity to interact with the kitchen stuff. Maybe not all the time. Maybe it'd be they'd have people come out onto a section and be like, "Oh, would you like some of this, sir?" "Yes, of course. Yes, of course. There you go."
Oh yeah.
In a not a self-service way. You go to the table and they serve you.
And speaking of tables, as you can see, I'm wearing my head of the table wrestling Roman Reigns top.
Wrestling.
And as you guys know, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I'm just gonna plug myself a little bit here, a little self-promotion, if you will. And the words of Dusty, the great Dusty Rhodes, and that is my WWE 2K20 Royal Rumble is coming soon. Woo! Stay tuned for that, because my boy right here is going to be entering that Royal Rumble with the 20. And let's do ourselves a little promo for I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna imagine this is a microphone. Let's have a little bit of fun, Jacob. I want you to give the people that are wrestling fans a little bit of a wrestling promo. I'm here live with Jacob, ladies and gentlemen, and he's gonna be entering my Royal Rumble on my WWE Universe mode. I don't actually have a proper microphone at home, so who gives a damn? It's just imaginary. Let's have a bit of fun. Jacob, what are you gonna say to the 29 others, including my friend J-Rock, who's probably paying attention to this podcast? Shout out to him.
Shout out to J-Rock.
And to Jack, who's also entering this Royal Rumble, as well as myself. And of course, there's one more person that's entering, which is, well, Scott. He is
rematch time.
He is also entering. So, Jacob, give me your best promo and tell me what you're going to do to those 29 other people in the Royal Rumble on my Universe mode.
29 other competitors? I don't think so. No one's going to beat me. I'm going to be number one again every single time. You heard it here. Bring it on.
You heard it, folks. You heard it. But in all seriousness, there's a bit of fun that I like to have, and I'm going to do that. Is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen, for my little plug for my W2K Universe mode. And plus any other playlists, feel free to like and share and subscribe.
Click the little bell for alerts.
Yes, of course.
That hand.
Yeah, or wherever it is. And also feel free to pay attention to my next podcast, which will probably feature somebody else on my podcast, one of my other friends. And I think that person, I'm going to try and get in touch with him soon. I'm going to try and get in touch with my friend, my former head chef at the Farrack Hotel that I used to work with, and we'll talk about conspiracies and conspiracy theories. Stuart Green, he said he messaged me to say he wanted to do one, so if I can get you involved. I'm Danrvdtree2000, also known as Danrvdtree2000, 5th Day on Xbox Live, but you know me as Daniel Smith.
I know you as Daniel Smith.
And this has been Jacob. Mr. Jacob Gaywood. And until next time for another podcast, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me as well.
Thank you very much for being on my show, Jacob.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasurable experience, Daniel.
Alright, goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to watch the previous video, click on the video on the left. But if you want to watch the playlist, then click on the video on the right. Also, feel free to click subscribe by clicking on the Master Chief icon on the top.